Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, I will explain about how to pass request headers in Spring Boot MVC or REST. It is a part 2 video. In part 1 video, we are discussing about request header. In part 2 video, we will discuss about HTTP servlet request. So part 1 video, this is part 1 video. I will provide in description of this video. So let's get started. Now I am using HTTP servlet request. So yeah, student controller. For this save student, we are used yet request header to read request headers. I am now using HTTP servlet request in this method. Get student by ID. I am using HTTP servlet request to read request headers. HTTP servlet request. So interface to provide request information for HTTP servlets. So reference variable HTTP servlet request, comma, copy the reference variable, Control C, paste here, dot get headers, get header, return the value of specified request header as a string. So we need to pass key, it will return the value x student hyphen key. This is the key, right? Semicolon, it will return the get header at the return type string. So string string student key equal to, this is done, right? Suppose if this x student key is null or empty, then we are saying throw the exception. We are saying throw this exception, right? So after that, so if object details dot is empty, in null or empty, then we are saying throw the exception. So we are passing request address, right? I am also send, this is attaching to the response. So suppose get student by ID will provide one response, right? In response also I am passing this header. So address is there, right? Control C, pass in response entity constructor. Previously two parent constructor, now we are added another parent address. Now it is three parent constructor, right? So here student constant, student key. So x student key, this is a static final constant. So replace here in the student key, this value is there, x student key. So replace it. Control as, go to starter class, right click, run as student app. So see here student app. In student app, go to post handler method. This is save student, right? We are using get request header, right? So in this save student handler method, I will not pass this request header. Then what will happen? Let's compare both. So this is student app collection, save student. So if I am selecting, that means it is the we are passing. Uncheck means we are not passing this header. Now I am sending. See what will happen. We are getting 500 internal server error. Suppose this is the find student, find by ID. This is the path variable, right? See here, this is the path variable. We are passing HTTP servlet request, and it is a path variable. That's why we are passing at URL level. So I am hitting. I am not passing any headers. Send. See here, we are getting bad request. So when we will get bad request, see request header missing. So it is going to here. It is null or empty, right? That's why this is throwing. This is throwing. That's why it is printing request header missing. Here it is calling one of advice method. One of advice methods here. It is calling this bad request advice method. So student key not found exception, right? So it is calling student key not found exception. It is returning advice is returning message error status timestamp. So go to here, save student. Suppose I am enabling, but value I am not passing. Sending. See now we are getting same bad request header missing, node point. So difference 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 between at request header and HTTP servlet So here at request header, at request header HTTP servlet request post point here. So post point request header is mandatory failed. That's why if we are not passing this, if we are not passing this header, then we are getting internal server error. So this is not at all going to inside. So suppose it is going to inside of this code, it will throw this because of this null. The student key is null, but it is going to this side. It is not calling internal. This method is not calling. So yeah, request yet request header is mandatory field mandatory field. So this is HTTP servlet request. So it is not a mandatory field. It is not mandatory to pass. It is not mandatory pass. It is mandatory to pass this field. It is not mandatory to pass. It is not mandatory to pass this field. Mandatory to pass this field. This field means X student key. It is not mandatory to pass. It is mandatory to pass. It is mandatory to pass, right? Yeah, request header. We can enable and disable. We can enable and disable. I will show how. This is request header, right? Comma required equal to false, like required equal to true, false. We can enable, disable. We can enable, disable. So we can enable, disable by using required. So yeah, we we cannot we cannot enable this request header by default required equal to true. It is enabled. So we cannot enable. This is the second point. So go to save student. So I am passing key. So some key I am passing. So I am sending the 997, hitting the, so it is student saved. So I am passing the key x student key some value. I'm passing some value. I'm hitting now. See, it is successfully retrieved. Suppose I'm changing to 1005. I'm sending. So no value present. That means this is not there in database. This object you can type 99 here. Just now we are saved on 997. 997. Then see we are getting result, right? So this is it done. If there any changes are required in JUnits, let's verify. Get student by ID, right? So go to SRC test Java controller. Here I'm running, right click, run as JUnits. Get student by ID. For this method, we are added request adders. Let's see now it is failing or not. If it is failing, then we are getting 400 bad request expected, but was 400. So here also mandatory to pass. This is the get student by ID. So see here. So this is the we are passed at the right. Previously we are passed at the like this. Copy this save student method. Same I am pasting here. Get student by ID. Control S. So right click, run as JUnits. Right click, run as JUnits. So wait some time. JUnit test cases will be executed. If all test cases are running, then you will get green color tick marks here. All test cases are done. So this is most important difference between add request header and HTTP servlet request. Add request header. Add request header is mandatory to pass. Otherwise, we will get this key is not present kind of error. We can enable or disable by using required by using required attribute. We can enable disable request header, but HTTP servlet request it is not mandatory to pass. Without passing this header, we can also hit the endpoint. Like if any conditions are there, like if any checks are there, suppose like this. if student key is null or empty, throw the exception kind of checks are there, then it will throw the exception. And we cannot enable disable this. We cannot enable and disable. We cannot enable and disable. So in this video, we have successfully understand how to pass request headers in Spring Boot MVC REST by using HTTP servlet request. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe to this video.